Okay, in continuation of halachot berachot, one who wants to make a beracha, he needs to have in mind what he's exactly making blessing on. So, for example, if somebody is holding onto a cup of juice and he thinks that this is cup of pomegranate, and all of a sudden in the middle of the beracha, he realizes that this is not pomegranate juice, it's grape juice. And he was in the middle of a beracha of sha'akol. Sha'akol is for pomegranate juice, and the beracha Borei Peri HaGefen is for grape juice. What should he do? So, according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, Rabbeinu Yosef Karo, alav shalom, the beracha that he is making on this juice, even though that he had in mind is pomegranate juice, is going to help with grape juice, and it's going to cover it. But some poskim do not hold like this, and the poskim say that preferably he needs to make sure to say the correct bracha, which is Borei Peri HaGefen, even though that on the second hand B'diavad is going to cover Borei Peri HaGefen, but nevertheless one should correct his mistake, and the way to correct the mistake is he should go ahead and drink a little bit of this juice that he made beracha on, that this way his beracha would not be levatala, and then he should find somebody else who can make the correct beracha and have him in mind, and this way his beracha did not become beracha levatala. Now there is another case. If a person is making is in the middle of the beracha, he hasn't said the beracha completely. He just started the beracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, and he realizes that that which he's making beracha on is not what he had in mind. Let's say he had in mind to make beracha on pomegranate juice, and all of a sudden this is grape juice. He hasn't finished the beracha. He's by the name of Hashem. At that point, he can finish the beracha by saying Lamdeni Chogecha, which is the pasuk in Tehillim. And this way, Baruch Atah Hashem Lamdeni Chogecha is not saying the name of Hashem in vain. It's not the Vatala. It's actually saying the pasuk of the Tehillim. And this way, he can fix the possible beracha levatala, and then he can go ahead and say the correct beracha. So Chacham enam berusho. Chacham is a person who always sees and makes sure what he does. So we need to pay attention what we're holding and what we're having in mind, right? On something that we're making beracha blessing is the correct way. Another concept, this is a very important concept, when it comes to berachot on aseh or ispeh besamim. Aseh besamim, ispeh besamim. Right? First of all, the correct pronunciation is not aseh or is not ispeh. It's aseh, ispeh. Right? It's not, in a Sephardi way, aseh, ispeh. So that's the correct way of saying it, pronouncing it. Now, when it comes to somebody who is holding onto a flower, and this flower, he thinks that this is the bracha is. He thinks that bracha is aseh. But then it turns out to be that the bracha on the flower he made wasn't aseh. We say bracha on tree, the types of the flowers that have the deen of a tree that would last long, not just something that just is temporarily dries out or has no branches. So if somebody is making a mistake bracha, instead of ispeh, he is making aseh, how can he correct himself? So the way to correct it is like this. If he already made the bracha aseh doesn't cover the ispe. Aseh is on the tree. Ispe is on the bushes, on the things that do not have the din of a tree. So the way to do it is you can go and bring a shahakol. And he can make shahakol and have in mind that this shahakol should cover the mistake blessing that he said on the flower that comes from ground. So shahakol covers the ispe, the samim. So this way he makes a shahakol, then he goes and he smells that flower, and that would be covered. Now, if somebody made beracha on a ispe besamim by mistake, then what should he do? He should, if he's in the middle of the beracha, he can say lamden chochecha, and that's fine. If he made the beracha on something that is aseh, but he made the beracha ispe, right? The beracha ispe covers the aseh as well. So this way, he is not going to be beracha levatala. The best would be that if there is somebody else there, would come and say the correct beracha of aseh besamim, and have him in mind, and he would smell it again, because that which he made ispe on really was aseh besamim. So Be'ezrat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us that we say the berachot correctly. Benomar Amen.